The cool thing about this, when you're opening your hips and the straight line release, both of those concepts work with every club in the bag, whether you're using a pitching wedge or a driver. We'll see here originally in the video, Jacob's standing up, flipping a little bit, losing his posture, and that club is releasing early. Now in this after video, we're gonna see him opening up the hips much better like we saw, releasing that club much more in front, and now he's got a lot more consistency in his swing, a lot better contact when that's happening. You should be able to hit one that sounds just like the pros, especially when the pros are hitting those nice easy shots. They're not even swinging hard. Maybe it's a shorter shot where they're just making a smooth swing. Well, shouldn't we be able to do that? And why is it that when we hit the center of the face, it just never sounds like that? Well, I'm gonna show you exactly what's going on. So, piece number one, let's jump into the posture aspect of it. Lots of times what players are doing is they're coming down with the club a little steep. This is too vertical of an angle, and what ends up happening is I pop up out of my posture a little bit to shallow out this club. My club drops under like this, but the problem is when let's imagine if this is me in posture, as I stand up out of my posture, look what happens to my hands. They're forced out this way, further in front of me. Now if I swung down like this, I would whack in to this stick. So what I've done here is I've set up what I like to call the brick here. I've set it up on the 6-iron shallowing slot is where I put this alignment stick in there. And I'm not going to use it for the shallowing drill the way this is normally set up for. I'm going to place the golf ball on the front side of this brick. So if you're looking at the square divots angle of attack, there's a little slot at the top left. I'm going to put a golf ball on this side of the brick, and I'm going to make sure it's at least one club head width toward me on the inside of it so I don't have to worry about hitting that. I'm not going to worry about the pull noodle here because I'm not going to hit it with my club, and it's not going to get in the way of my arms if I'm doing this correctly. If you do hit it with your arms, it's not going to hurt. So here, what I'm doing is as I swing down, if I pop up out of my posture, if I get too steep and over the top, my arms are going to hit this alignment stick, right? So there, if I do that, I get immediate feedback that that's not right. Make sure that you do have the blunt end of the stick, have a little rubber piece on there, have something to where it's not like a sharp end if you have it upside down. It needs to be the blunt end of the alignment stick. Now from here, if I make a swing to where I feel like my hips now drop back instead of pop forward, and I feel like my hands and arms get closer to my body, so I want to make them swing in here where they're almost feeling like they're grazing against my thighs here. That's going to allow me to miss this stick. So let's go ahead and try one out here. I hit that pretty daggone solid. I was happy with that. Haven't even made very many swings today, but that felt pretty promising there. So that's allowing me to stay in my posture by just trying to miss this stick. As soon as I pop out of posture, it gives you immediate feedback. You're not going to be able to you're going to whack into the stick. Piece number two on that is that's a big part of why it sounds so solid when the pros are hitting it. Most players, especially off a tight lie, if you struggle off a tight lies, I guarantee you that this is something that's happening for you. When you stand up out of that posture, the hands go out, the club has to drop down to be able to reach the ground, and the shaft gets too vertical at impact. So with a shallow swing, shallowed out, swinging under here, the club is at this nice angle. If I start to get steep, pop up out of my posture, now all of a sudden the club is much more vertical. Now you may be asking yourself, okay, I hear you saying that, but isn't that just a lie angle problem? Shouldn't I just be adjusting the lie angle to fit my swing? Even with properly fit clubs, you can only bend a club a few degrees. Most players, that's not going to be enough to make a difference. In fact, if I took 100 players I've taught, a sample set of 100 players, 90-something% of them are going to have the club too toe down or have this club shaft too vertical. On top of that, when TrackMan and other launch monitor radars measured people's vertical swing plane, which is tightly related to this, they found that the more vertical the swing plane, the higher the handicap of the player. As swing planes got lower, handicaps got less. As swing planes got lower, contact got more solid. And most players have way too vertical of a swing plane. So what's going on here is that if I take this giant club, it really illustrates this pretty well. Imagine I'm hitting a golf ball toward the camera, and the lie angle of the club, or the sole of the club, is perfectly flat. Well, that's what this is representing, the proper vertical swing plane and lie angle. If I can miss this stick, the sole of my club is going to be flat. I'm going to have a nice square divot, and the golf ball is going to be able to hit on the sweet spot there. If I pop up out of my posture all of a sudden, not only do I stand up, the toe of the club starts to get lower than the heel, and now all of a sudden if I was to hit this same golf ball, it would be very thin, or it would pull it a couple grooves low, especially on tight lies. Now if you are able to hit it solid on these kind of fluffed up lies, well, that's bringing the golf ball higher, and now I have some room to stand up, get the toe down, and still hit it solid. But as soon as I get on those tighter lies, I really struggle. That's a surefire sign that this is something that would be a perfect thing for you to work on. So what I want to feel here is I want to feel like my hips go back this way toward the wall. I want to feel like my heel of the club is almost lower than the toe of the club as I'm doing this. And I really like to feel like I want to stay behind the golf ball. I don't want to slide out here in front of it. So if I'm looking from this direction, I don't want to slide way up here. I want to feel like I get closer to the ground with my chest, but I keep my nose almost back here toward this alignment stick rather than kind of sliding up in front of the golf ball. So I'm going to feel like this. Butt goes back, arms and heel are lower, and I'm going to keep my nose kind of almost back here just inside this alignment stick to be lined up properly. And if I can do that, I'm going to hit it pretty daggone solid and stay in my posture all the way through. Now, the last thing I like to do with this that really ties it all in together, most people when they're doing this drill, as soon as you try what I just told you, and you get your hands down below this stick, you get your body working down toward the ground, you're going to think, I am way too daggone close to the ground. There's no way I'm going to be able to hit this solid. And that would actually be the case if I stay down there and I still throw the club or flip it. I'm going to bury this club 6, 8, 10 inches in the ground. Throw the alignment stick into the wedge impact position, and even when you're hitting your irons, we won't have quite this much shaft lean when we're actually hitting an iron, but try to mimic a little bit more of that shaft lean or my hands going forward even when I'm hitting a 6-iron like this. So all I want you to do, same feelings as we just did, but get the hands in front to keep the club from digging in the ground. You see, if I'm down in my posture and I cast the club, smacking in the ground. If I get shaft lean and rotate, I'm going to hit it really nice and solid, and that club's going to glide through the turf rather than digging. The cool thing is this is set at a little bit of an angle. It's a bit upright for a 6-iron. But if I can do the same feelings again and try to match a little bit of that shaft lean, it's not going to be quite that much lean, then I'm going to hit some really solid ones. Grab a Blue Brick today, stay in your posture, and compress the golf ball just like the pros.